the Spiffing Brit, the most British person of all. So British in fact, I will be doing the classically British thing, and naturally I will be largely ignoring Wales and Scotland. Hippie do, hippie hey, the USA is not today. Ah, lovely. Of course, make sure you're sat back on your discounted DFS sofa, you have a nice warm cup of Yorkshire tea in hand, a rich tea biscuit in the other, and you're also ready to salute the portrait of the Queen that hangs above your television set. And hey, maybe even consider joining this community. Also, don't worry, the flag from the Queen that you get for subscribing to this channel should be en route soon. I've just phoned up the palace today. Apparently, a few of the corgis got into some of the packaging, and so they're having to redo the entire batch of flags. But don't worry, I'm sure they'll be sent off soon. Trees are walking money. Up until recently, it was actually surprisingly easy to visit Britain, mostly because whether you liked it or not, Britain would inevitably be coming to you or your country's borders. That's right, I'm playing a god game, which is of course a terrible type of game to be in the hands of any living British person. Why? Because we get to live all of our wildest fantasies out, and most of them involve the persecution of others. It's corporation taxes, that's right, because yes, 30% of it is stripped away by the evil government trying to fund education for children. Oh, horrible. Why can't it just fund our wonderful tree enterprise? What about one of my top 10 attractions in the UK, and by far probably the 8th wonder of the world? I'm of course speaking about the legendary Bood Tunnel. Because of course I, like all quintessentially posh and British sounding people, love money. Nothing says beautiful city like Slough. Oh god, Slough. Oh no, Slough. Oh no. Every time I close my eyes I see Slough. Make sure to visit all of our prime tourist hotspots like Grimsby, Bognor Regis, and my personal favourite, the burnt out husk of Weston-super-Mare. It's raining. If one of you guys out there could create a mod that turns these trees into tea plantations, then I am all up for it. I would absolutely love to turn a prison into a tea plantation. And so I have designed a brand new hide-and-seek TM, a patent pending of course, which will become the new playground standard in a few years to come, naturally when I rule over Great Britain and re-expand the empire to annex Pluto. We've got to get to it before the Americans, of course. Now, scientists might say that a human being can't sustain themselves by eating just berries for months on end, and to those so-called smarty pants I say, well, how have I managed to survive on my diet, comprised of just tea leaves for the last 400 years, and I turned out fine science? Is research speed really that important? No, it's not. The persecution of prisoners, however, now that's what I'm interested in. Queen's Quest, an MMO set to simulate the entire life of Great Britain, where the first starting quest in the game was to go and harvest tea, and the level 1 starting enemies were all coffee beans. Trust me, it was a glorious game. Hang on a second, Spiff, that's just a wind tunnel outside of a Sainsbury's in a random village in the middle of nowhere. And I go, yes, but isn't it beautiful? Now you might notice it's cold, it's desolate, and honestly, why on earth would anyone like to live here? And it might be very easy to mistake this place for Scotland, but actually no, this is an entirely new creation, inspired by Scotland, handcrafted by Todd Howard himself. It's kind of like me and tea. You might put me in the most horrible and upsetting location in the world, like Wales, but if you give me a cup of tea, I'm sure I'll forget all about it. None of that filthy bean broth, no, only the finest leafy soups allowed here. I, for one, stand with the Cobb crew, and the fact that the people of Cornwall would dare call it a tea cake, despite the fact that a bread roll contains neither tea or cake, is reason enough, in my opinion, to simply sever them from the mainland and float them off into the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, we need to rename this, because this area is basically going to be known for just dumping residents into the middle of nowhere and hoping that they survive without any support whatsoever. Consequently, it makes only perfect sense that I call it Australia, for we will be dumping all of the coffee drinkers in the entire world into this one small area. It's coal that powers the Industrial Revolution in this country, and not the tears of children. Could always move to Sealand. I hear there's no tax in Sealand. Britain has a very interesting culture that revolves around holding absolute indifference to most humans. These prisoners have acted really calmly considering they haven't had access to food for almost an entire week now. I mean, if I don't have access to tea after like 30 minutes, I'm probably ready to break for an entire metal door and then escape whatever confines I find myself in. The national sport of Britain is, of course, excessive drinking, followed by intermittent hooliganism and early onset liver failure. Nothing is there to protect you, nothing is there to save you, except the booed tunnel. Ah, hell, it's glorious, absolutely wonderful, and should definitely not be mistaken for, of course, Skegness, even though the two do look ever so slightly similar. He is quite simply encouraging the prisoners to just forget that they haven't had food for days, and instead put a cheery smile on their face and go, you know what, could be worse, could be Welsh. Actually, no, the Welsh people are lovely, some of them. Now let us begin the greatest fantasy of all, the ability to own a house. The people of Wales wish that England would sink back into the fiery pits of hell. The people of Scotland also hope for the same. With left-hand traffic only, I mean, come on, we're not barbarians. People living in a city need water to drink. However, these people mostly drink coffee, and consequently, they don't deserve water. It is still raining. Whilst there are of course many differences between these nations, they are unified into being British by having one common enemy: happy tourists, which we've all agreed must be grunted at and encouraged to leave all positivity back where they came from. Happiness and Britishness are simply two juxtaposed ideologies that cannot agree with each other. And I suppose I have also been slipping those mind-controlling tea bags out to the public, which have been making all of you like videos instinctively. Perhaps I should have seen this coming. Our first level 1 enemy is of course going to be none other than evil business Pingu, a very angry businessman-like penguin. I said there would be no tea plantations today, and look at us, day 7, and I'm growing a tea plantation. Look, I can't help myself, it's just part of the DNA. I'm so sorry. It's at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you give a Brit a cup of tea, and he will be happy for a day. You teach a Brit how to grow tea, and he will take all of your homelands and put a new flag up there. I'm sorry, I can't help myself, ladies and gentlemen. As we're going to be burning the city down to the ground multiple times, it makes sense for us to call this Gigaslough. Now, as always with colonies, you can't start them on a high bit of tax. Tax is for when they become a rich colony, like say America, and then you hit them with the tax. Oh, and you really hit them with the tax. It's actually fantastic how many people are so excited by the boot tunnel. Oh, it's Henry Hoover. Oh, Henry H, he made it down to the boot tunnel. I'm so glad he made it. Seriously, don't developers know how many times we fought the French? At this point, basically every single English child is just built with the innate knowledge of how to man a trebuchet. Ah yes, Timmy, today we shall be teaching you all of the fine studies of mathematics, English, Latin, and of course most importantly learning how to launch a 90-kilogram stone projectile over 300 meters. We're going to be calling it, I don't know, it's something in the ocean, something floating in the ocean. Of course it's going to be Sealand. Of course the British democracy is a bit different than most, as our real leader is not a lizard person, but instead a down-to-earth 9,000-year-old immortal god who can evaporate the life force out of any coffee drinkers that stray too close to British territorial waters. Allow me to present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the first ever Church of the Tea. It's going to take a while to construct, but as you can see, it's absolutely glorious. We've got tons of pews, we've got a preaching area for the High Tea Lord himself to shout at you from. Hopefully that shall inspire you to drink more tea, or alternatively terrify you into drinking the tea. Either way should work. The Welsh, however, decided to name everything by getting pissed and rolling a sheep over a keyboard. What we can do, turn on the mega tower, that's immediately going to summon 30,000 coffee drinkers in out of nowhere. Then if we go to the disasters tab, we can then just slam on a quick meteor strike into the mega tower, and I'm hoping that should simplify the coffee drinking. What we needed was the ultimate definitive tea that dwarfs all other teas and crushes them into the soily mud from whence they came. Behold our beloved ultimate tea overlord, Yorkshire Tea Gold. In fact, we can even give them that power by giving them sheep. But not too many sheep, else they will turn into the Welsh. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Sphinx, and of course Boot Tunnel. Having now visited the site twice, my wife and I are flummoxed why this site is not on the list of World Heritage Sites. Oh, it's fantastic, it honestly is. It is now flooding. When you have your own nation and your own kingdom in the sea, technically laws don't apply to you. You're no longer constrained by HMRC tax codes, and consequently you can get up to just about anything, provided you don't violate the Geneva Convention. Or maybe you can violate the Geneva Convention and just pretend you never saw it or heard about it. The choice is yours. Apparently if you just hold down anywhere, these graphics start doing whatever this is. Who knows? But it certainly isn't powered by glorious tea. What do you think, Queenie? Well, Spiff, I think you'll find that actually this city... Sorry, Queenie, can I just interject? What has happened to your voice? I think it's because the person being the intermediary for my voice has absolutely no idea how to speak comfortably and is actually completely and utterly straining his voice to do... Oh, God. Oh, that's how I'm going to die, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, but no deal is better than a bad deal. And oh my goodness, look at that lovely voice. Oh my. I wonder who was doing that voice that day. They sound fantastic. Yorkshire tea gold is the source of all greatness in this world. It gave life to humanity and balance to the force. It is also the source of my own immortality and the bribe money that falls into my account once a month. All hail our brand new leafy overlords. Who is the king of this kingdom? Oh my goodness, he's wise and greedy. He's just like me. From henceforth you shall be known as default British man. Oh, you're glorious, you're perfect. And I'm not moving a single goddamn muscle. Okay, you think you can screw me over by defeating my hide and seek challenge in just 20 minutes? Well, guess what? Joke's on you. Joke's on you, you speedy sausages. We're hiding in the most satanic world. I created this nightmare myself. Try and find me, you bastards. Send help? Okay, right, this, nothing was here, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, hang on a second, the bulldoze tool isn't working. Dismantle these objects, workmen. We can't let the world see what's happening. Don't know who's trying to play these pranks on us, but the world must not know about the secrets inside the British Empire. They might start asking questions like, where did all of the flags go? Where did the natives go? No, ladies and gentlemen, whoa, you shouldn't be asking those questions. Just keep enjoying the tea. You know, it's actually creating quite a nice natural lake. Well, about as natural as a synthetic tea bag, but still natural nonetheless. We dropped off in a barren landscape with almost no survivability or infrastructure. It's easy to mistake this wilderness for actually anywhere in the north of England, but surprisingly, unlike the north of England, this place is actually hospitable. Oh, God, I love the world. I love the UK. Genuinely. The Boot Tunnel is everything which is splendid about the UK. Oh, and the British Empire has made peace with the French. Now that was a surprise.